Okay, so welcome back to Little T Play Stationeers. This is episode 5, Food for Thought. We are in the process here of making a nice little greenhouse. At the end of the last episode, we kind of set this all up with water and a few plants here. And I left these deliberately empty so that when these plants finally grow, we can harvest some of them, eat others, and replant some of the fruit, I guess, that comes from the crop there, right? So first things first, I'm going to change my battery out because I'm not doing so good here for power. And it's worth noting, right, that like the setup in here is all well and good, but we have no way to control the temperature, right? And each time the sun comes up overhead, it's going to just gradually nudge the temperature up and up and up, right? And eventually it is going to become a hostile environment for the plants that we have, or the food, right, that we have planted. Something else that is not so cool is I'm also now down to my last food, so I have no more cereal bars, and this means that this this greenhouse needs to work or I die. So that's a fun thought. So let's eat some of these tomatoes here. Let's eat 2. Let's swap out these soybeans. Let's eat 2 of those. And we're gonna just try here to survive long enough to harvest the crop that we have in this greenhouse here. So I realized on loading the game here that we're in kind of dire need of some ore, right? Because we're going to need to build a few things, and we have in this, yeah, I think that's all our stuff there, right? So in this atmosphere printer, the hydraulic pipe bender, we only have now 3 iron. So I think what I'm going to do is, straight off go mining off screen. It's probably the best, again, because once you've seen mining happen, you've seen it 100 times if you've seen it once. So yeah, let's pause the recording here, and I'll see you in a moment. Okay, so it's quite a decent haul there. We found some iron, some copper, and I think we're kind of ready to start setting up our air filtration system here. Not going to get too complicated about it. Really, the only things I'm going to really filter here are going to be oxygen and nitrogen, because that's kind of all we need really at the moment. So first things first, I think we're going to need to print out some tanks, right? Now this is very important here. Not a portable. Well, you could use portable tanks. But you know what? We could do that. We could do that. We already have a portable tank too. Okay, yeah, let's do it like that, right? so we have the portable tank. So we're going to need a tank connector to connect the portable tank to. Right. So this is yep. We're gonna connect the portable tank to this tank connector, and we're just gonna have like a pipe that's gonna go out there, I guess. And it's gonna feed into the gas furnace. We're gonna have to put some air filtration units in between the two to extract the oxygen and the nitrogen that we are going to be putting into this this room here, right? If it ever pressurizes, right? So let's just cancel that pressurize, because we're more or less at the pressure inside the room here. The gas furnace is like over there. So let's put our tank connector with the gas connection somewhere like here, right? And we're going to grab our portable tank. We're going to put it on the connector. We're going to just kind of eyeball it, tap the Q key, and then we're going to pull out our wrench to fix it to the tank connector, right? So now that is fixed to the tank connector there, and ready to receive gas, right? Now it was open, but yeah. So I guess some CO2 has got in. No, okay. Well, that's fortunate, right? So okay, it seems that the fans here are doing their job of reducing the CO2 percentage in the atmosphere. The other plants do it too. I honestly have no idea if ferns are more efficient at doing it than the other plants. But on Mars, for example, you know, if you wanna just clear up the atmosphere, putting a bunch of ferns into a room full of CO2 is pretty cool to watch them work. I mean, you do need some oxygen, right? But yeah, they're pretty efficient at scrubbing the atmosphere, right? So yeah, so we gotta build some pipes here to connect this pipe to our filtration units. This tank. So okay. Now, one of the reasons that we're gonna pressurize this room here to 101 kilopascals is because that's for the basic airlock. That is the pressure, the internal pressure. So like, you know, everything behind this door, right? That the airlock expects there to be in that room, right? So when it cycles to interior, it tries to fill up this bar to 101 kilopascals, right? And you know, if you don't have the pressure in there, then it's just more difficult for the airlock to do it, right? Now we could use like a tank like this connected instead of the passive vent there, or we could use, you know, a tank connector like we did with the water. to speed up the process, but I think that is for another series, right? I mean, this is more like basic stuff, right? Like a functioning working base with kind of the minimum of expertise and effort here, right? So so what were we doing? We were looking for pipes, right? So let's not build another tank connector. Let's build some pipes. I think we're going to need quite a few here. So I guess we're going to pause the recording again to so we're going to pause the recording here to wait. I think I was a little bit quick with the pause button there. So okay, we just printed out like 20 two stacks of 20 pipes, and what we got to do now is print out an atmospheric unit, right? We're gonna want one for oxygen, one for what? For N2, right? For nitrogen, and hopefully this copper will finish, right? Okay, so while we're waiting for that, what can we dump here? We have like full bag. What's in our jumpsuit stuff, right? Okay, so let's just dump one of those, right? So these things need to go on a frame, right? So we're gonna have to just kind of make a little. Well, that's interesting. They can go inside. It's gonna look pretty ugly though. So we're gonna build like a little kind of 3-frame thing out here, right? Just to make it look a little bit prettier, right? So where are those steel frames that we had? Did we use them all? Really? Did we use them all? Well, of course we did, because we printed out, exactly what we needed, right? So, there you go again, right? So, okay, well let's put this copper in here first, and print out 2 more of these atmospherics, because we're going to need, like I say, 1 for oxygen, 1 for nitrogen, and 1 for water, right? So really, no foresight here whatsoever, right? So there goes the gold. But we have to. We'll just drop this out here. We're going to need the steel from this machine to print out our 3 frames, 3 steel frames, and our 6 steel sheets, right? I mean, we could get away with 3, but let's use 6 just because, right? Okay. Want that, right? So steel sheets. We'll just go with 3, right? So, yeah. So we'll put our filtration units here on this 3 frames here. Let's go ahead and close those up real quick. Okay. Yep. And yep. Okay. Alrighty. So let's begin. Right. So this is an air conditioner, which I'm not going to get into in this series at all. This is a hydrogen combustor, which again I'm not going to get into in this series. This is an electrolyzer, which I'm not going to get into in this series. And finally, you have a filtration unit. Right? So you'll see these arrows, right? And if I orient the filtration unit like this, I think. Let's put it down, right, so you can kind of see. All right, so this is the filtered air, right? So I was kind of right. I needed to put it the other way, right? So be careful, right? Because when you deconstruct and try to put it down again, it defaults to air conditioner, right? So we want filtration. So this is the input, okay? So whatever is coming, right? It's just air, right? We'll go in here, and then you will put like a filter, similar to these, right? In just one of these sockets here, and that is what will get filtered out of this output here, right? And everything that is not whatever you have decided to put in here, right? So let's say we put this CO2 filter in here, right? What will come out of here is CO2, right? The filtered air will be CO2, and everything that is not CO2 will come out of this output here. Okay, so it's kind of how they work, right? So we're going to need one here for oxygen, one here for nitrogen, right? And you kind of want to space them out a little bit because you need space for cables and pipes, right? Because the unfiltered air, right, coming from this filter, right? So let's say we filter out the in this case the oxygen. That's going to go out of here, right? And everything else is going to come out of here. So we want that to feed into the input of the next filtration device, right? Filtration machine, right? So what went in here will be everything except O2, and then what comes out of here will be everything except O2. It will go into here, and then it will be everything except O2 and N2, right? Coming out of here, and this will be everything else. And what we're going to put here is one for water, right? Because we kind of want to have a supply here for our plants, right? So yeah, and what we're going to need to is probably a separate tank for the water, or for everything really, except the excess gas, which I think in this case we are just going to vent. We could cycle it back, I guess, but we're not going to get too technical. So I think we'll just vent it. Okay, so we'll kind of see how these filtration devices work. I guess the machine just wanted to spit it back out, right? So okay, atmospherics, right? So we need the atmospherics kit. Let's go ahead and place that first. Right, remember again, scroll down to get the filtration unit. We placed them like what, 2 apart, so let's keep with that schema. Right? Okay. So I mean, essentially, right, when you place them down, as we're seeing, right, like the back, I guess, needs to face wherever the gas is going to come in, right? Or no, that's not strictly true, right? The filtered air needs to go somewhere where face the direction where you need it to go, right? Just remember, from the back, the filtered air is the right-hand side and the input is the left. I didn't remember that, so I don't expect anyone else to remember that too much either, right? So what is this? Where did that come from? When did we pull that down? Oh, I think, yeah, okay, it was a thing. So let's first of all kind of rig up these things here, and so yeah, okay, so we're gonna need to do a couple of things here with the gas furnace. But first off, let's set up our input pipe, right? So that gas is going to go in here. It's going to be filtered by this filter, right? And then it's kind of going to follow this little chain here, right? Where the filtered gas goes in, the unfiltered gas comes out here, goes into the next filtration unit, and so on, right? And eventually you end up with, if you have enough filter units for like all the gases, you end up with like nothing at the other side, right? So like I say, we're not going to get too complex or too technical here. I think we're just going to have like an active vent here, venting whatever comes out of this unfiltered socket here, or connector here. Okay, so these filter machines are now like, at least within themselves, are like ready to at least start filtering the air, but they have no place to put their outputs, right? So let's go in here and find quickly the if you press C and follow along, there we go, right? So that is where we put our tank just now. Okay, so that's going to be a little bit complicated, I think, because well, you know what, I think we can do it, right? So let's bring that pipe out, right? So we're going to have that one tank be the oxygen tank. We're going to need to kind of go around here because this this cable is going to interfere with the pipe network, right? So it's yep, filtered, right? Okay, this pipe is going to come out here, right? I think what we'll do is we will see if we can't put 2 more tank connectors and feed these into a couple more. So I think just to figure it out, right, I think we'll just leave these like this for now, and let's build those 2 other tank connectors here, right? So these, unfortunately, don't stack, right? So I guess we'll dump that for now and get over here. It gives us a good opportunity anyway to see what the temperature is like in here, and you know how things are going generally. But it is starting to get to a point where I'm just going to borrow this for a moment. Starting to get to a point here where we do kind of need these food plants to start producing the goods, right? So okay, let's cancel that. Okay, so we have our one tank connector there. Okay, that's another one, right? Output here. And I do hope that that does not feed into here. Okay. Alrighty, so we have our third tank connector here, right? Let's see how are we doing here. Right? Can we harvest this? We can harvest this, right? So okay, let's deal with this for a minute, right? So you harvest things, right, by holding down the left mouse button, and then you can replant, right, the same way that you planted them. I think we're gonna do the same here, right? So we've had like 2 for 1 there, right? We have some soybeans, and we have some potatoes, right? And if we look here at the potatoes, when I eat them, they give me 20 food health, right? So let's have a look at the tomatoes here. Okay, so that was 30. So we're gonna put in some of those, right? Because they give me more chance of surviving, right? So let's eat this potato as well. Okay, and again. Okay, and now we are not hungry at all. So that's fantastic, right? So let's harvest this potato and replant. And we are good to go, right? So now, like, what is in my bag here? I can just eat this now, right? Because I know that we have like a bunch of plants here that are giving food, right? So that's awesome, right? We have planted, grown, and harvested food on the moon, right? So that's pretty awesome, right? So okay, let's go. Let's continue with this, right? So okie dokie. So we're gonna make some portable tanks here. Okay, not tanks, but portable tanks. Apologies if you were following along and you just went ahead and printed a regular tank instead of a portable tank. I think you know it kind of fits the moon, right? That everything is kind of budget. So so that's how we're gonna play this, right? Let's just print that one portable tank while that iron smelts. And I have to tell you, man, I feel a lot more comfortable now that I know my plants are growing. But I am starting to get a little bit worried about the temperature inside the greenhouse, right? Because it's now pushing 31, 32 degrees. You know, and when we when we pressurized it, it was half that temperature, and at the beginning of this episode, I think it was like something like 20, right? So it goes up pretty quickly. So we're going to need to find a way here to reduce the temperature. So yeah, let's just build this tank here. I'm not sure they stack either. Oh, they do. That's awesome. All right, so we're gonna pick up now to some paint, right? So let's grab our tool belt. Let's just put some of this food. I like to use green for nitrogen, blue for water, white for O2, and I think we'll stick with yellow for the time being for waste. But I prefer black for waste and what is being recycled. But it is entirely up to you, right? So I think what we'll do then is yeah. So when it's just air, right? We will have it yellow. So everything that is coming through on this side is going to be yellow. What comes out of here is going to be yellow. This oxygen filter unit is going to be white. So let's now quickly paint these pipes white so that we know what is in the pipes, right? Because when you have we forgot about that. Okay, but it's now fully charged, right? So it was a worthwhile thing to do there, right? So so those are white. We're going to take our green spray can here and spray the entire unit green, because this is going to be the nitrogen. And then we're going to spray this here blue, because that's going to be the water, right? So okay, that's pretty cool. We're going to do the same inside with our tank connectors and all that good stuff. So that inside too, we know which tank is which, right? It's kind of convenient that the last one is water, because we're just really gonna feed that directly to the okay. So that's I'm gonna feed that directly to the plants, right? Let's just make it look nice and spray that white, right? So okay. To deploy a portable tank, just right click, right? So let's make this one green, and let's make this one blue, and let's pick them up, put them where they need to go, right? It's probably best you do them one at a time, because they have a tendency to not sit exactly where you would like them to be, but there's a certain margin of error, right, for where you put it. So it's not completely finicky, but sometimes they don't behave as they should, right? Okay, so that's how our tanks kind of set up here. And we're going to need, right, so this is just storage, right? So we're going to need some way, once the air is filtered and put into these tanks, we're going to need some way to have them output what they contain, right, in into the atmosphere. And as you'll notice, right, they and the big tanks that we declined to build on this occasion, they only have one input output too, right? So you kind of have to build like next to the entrance here. You kind of have to build a T-junction, and in this case I think we're going to build like up, and then kind of have, you know, maybe a gas release here or something like that, right? So it's going to be kind of interesting. Okay, so first things first, we're going to need to kind of let's just drop these paints. We don't really need them for now. Let's deconstruct this bunch of pipes here. We're actually going to deconstruct the valve. Are we? No, let's not. Let's leave it. Yeah, let's leave it. Keep talking about T. So, okay, right. Let's go grab the other pipes from our bag here. Here's hoping that it reaches. We don't have to build anymore, right? Okay. It's, you know, it's not the prettiest of setups here, but you know, it's gonna work, right? So that's kind of the main thing. Okay. So, alrighty. Now there is another thing that we need to put in here. So I'm gonna where are we gonna put that? I think here is probably the best place to put it. Okay. So yeah, we need to build here. We need to build a volume pump. Okay, so we have a couple of different ways to regulate pressure, right, and stuff. A few different ways. So what we're going to look at here is a volume pump, which is not really a regulator. It's more just like, you know, everything that's in this pipe, move it that way, right? So I guess, you know, you remember when we built the vent here to evacuate the air from the gas furnace here. So if you kind of think of this volume pump as kind of like a similar concept, but it doesn't output to, you know, the air. It just outputs to like the rest of the pipe, right? Just gonna push stuff there. Doesn't really matter at the minute what you set it to, but it does need to be connected to the power grid, and it also consumes kind of a lot of power, right? So we're kind of starting to get into things to build that are going to eat into our power supplies here, right? So I don't think we have any of that heavy cable left. So let's put in our filters. For the heavy filter, right, we need steel. We also need electrum, which you make with 1 gold to 1 silver. And I have to be honest and say that in the entirety of this series so far, I haven't seen more than one node of silver, which is kind of lucky because you don't really need to use it for that many things, right? But to make electrum, it's kind of necessary. But we're not going to go for the heavy filters, right? And if you look, I don't know why the medium filters are further down than the well, I mean, I guess it's alphabetical, right? But they could do with moving the medium filters up a bit further, right? So that they're between the regular and the heavy filters. But okay. So for a medium filter, we need Constantin or Constanta. I have no idea how you pronounce that. So, you know, whatever that is, right? So we don't have that either, right? And that's an alloy. So what we're going to do is just go with a regular bunch of filters here, right? So there's our nitrogen filter, right? We need an oxygen filter. Okay, and we're going to need a water filter, right? So okay, let's just go pop these into their relevant machines, right? Now it doesn't matter which side. Let's be OCD about it. And I mean, you could put 2 in, but it doesn't speed up the filtration process, right? It just means that, you know, when you run out, right, you can just remove one and it will continue to work, right? So yeah, I'm not a big fan of trying to filter, you know, 2 gases out or these kind of things, because I like to be very, very clear on, you know, what gas is in which tank and all these things. And separating gases again is you know, I mean, if you set it up right, it's not too big of a deal, but you know, it can be a chore if you're not too sure what you're doing, or you know. So all right, we kind of set this up in such a way that it's going to be very difficult to get power to them. So I think, do you know what? Yeah, we could do it like that. Okay. So, right, let's close this this valve, right? And we need now those cable coils, right, to connect up the things there, right? So there is another kind of important step that we need to perform, right? We need to kind of have a line here for a waste pipe, right? So we'll figure that out in a moment. Where are we now? We need no, we don't want things from here. We need the stuff, right? There's the copper, there's the gold. That might be it for the copper. If yeah, it could be pretty bad. Okay, so let's start pumping out some of these. Let's, while we're waiting, start some copper smelting, because we're gonna need it. all these print out, I'm going to pause the recording. Alrighty, so we now have these cables, and we're gonna, how are we gonna do this? So this cable, right? You can cross pipes with cables, but you cannot cross corners, right? So that's not it's not cool, right? So we either go down or we go up, right? So I say we go across here, right? So we're not going to bother with the data for now on these machines. So we're going to do it like this, right? Have the cables come down here, right? And I think you're kind of following what I'm doing, right? So I'm going to have these now come down here. And I don't think that's going to be enough cables, is it? So we'll have to print out some more. Yeah. Not a big deal. This is part and parcel of the day in the life of a stationeer, right? So you forget or you print out not enough things, or oops. Okay, so there's that copper, right? We're going to need for the cable coils that we still need. Right? So we need like one for there, and then we need to connect this up to this line here too, right? So one. I think that's going to be what, like 1, 2, 3, 4, maybe 5. So yeah. And then we still need to connect up the oxygen and the nitrogen so that they are putting gas into the room, right? Which is going to be a little bit complicated because it's hard to find nitrogen. I have to say, it's not the easiest gas to acquire, but acquire it we will. So, right, okay. So that's all nicely connected up there. So let's turn that on. That was not connected to anything, right? If I remember, we just like built it to have like a way in there for our power. So we should, when this HBT, come on. Okay, there we go. Alright, so now they should be powered, right? They're not filtering anything because there's nothing to filter, and we're going to need here probably an active vent. So let's build one of those. What do we need for the active vent? We need 5 iron, 1 gold, 5 copper. Okay, so there's our copper. There's our gold. And do we have iron in here? No, that's steel. And there's our iron, right? So, active vent. Okay. And I think we'll need 1 passive vent too for the nitrogen oxygen that we're gonna let's put this active vent here. Okay, it's going to need to be powered. I wonder, can we get away? Probably could get away with a passive vent here, but we're not going to, right? Oh well, okay. So what we kind of want to do now is a little trick, right, to not use so much paint. Picked up a blue pipe here, and then if we like drop this set of yellow pipes here onto this blue pipe, then we paint them, right? So you know we only need to paint like one cable or one pipe to have a full set of pipes or cables of that color, which is handy if you want to do things like you know, build a lot of pipe network or a lot of cables of colors, you know. So yeah, I mean, in a setup kind of this small, you know, it's not really that important to have different colored things, right? To color code your stuff, but you know, when you get to the big kind of setups that you can have, there needs to be a corner. Okay. Alrighty. So now all of these are connected to their respective tanks, which is cool because now once we power up this volume pump here, then they will start filtering their gases into the respective tanks, right? So we're going to just do one more quick thing here, which is build these up here, and yeah, let's build it like up. Okay. Well, tell you what, we're gonna wait and see for a second here because we need to build a gas mixer. So let's deconstruct this white pipe here, change the colors, right? Okay. And then let's have this go up. Right. So okay. I never remember the orientation of the gas mixer that we're about to build, right? So we still need more cable coils. We still need more. Some for this and some for this. So I guess again, you know, while those print out, we will just pause the recording one more time, right? So yeah, that's what we're gonna do. Okay, so we printed out those cables, and I you know, set up some iron there to smelt off screen. So let's go ahead and connect up this active vent here. Okay, now you've noticed, you'll notice maybe that I've connected this directly to all of this directly to this one battery here, right? With no transformers or area power controllers And that's pretty much because, probably not going to be using any logic chips, and I kind of know that, it's not going to be using, more than 50 kilowatts, right? So there's no need to like separate things out here, or but okay. So okay, this active vent is now on, right? So again, remember, if it is blue, it is blowing air out, right? And if it is red, it is sucking air in. Okay, so essentially, like if you keep it like this, right? You turn it on, it's gonna prevent any of the unfiltered air from coming out of this pipe. And I believe it's 60 megapascals, right? 60 MPa is the limit for these pipes, and when they reach the limit, they burst, right? So you do have to also watch the pressure in your pipes, right? So we're gonna make sure that that is set to the right setting, and now we're gonna connect up our volume pump here, right? So, okay. There we go. Okay, so now with this valve closed, nothing is gonna happen, right? Because there's nothing here, right? And at the moment, there's nothing there anyway. So, with the valve open, nothing is going to happen. But what is cool about this volume pump is that it will make sure that nothing that is in this pipe can go into the gas furnace, right? So the only things that will end up, the only gases that will end up in the gas furnace now are gases that we put into the gas furnace. Right? So there'll be no surprises, hopefully no unexpected explosions, which you may be disappointed to hear, but that's how it is, right? So our battery is reasonably okay, but let's change it anyway. We've set up our filtration unit, and we've kind of laid the groundwork for connecting our gas mixer here, which we're going to use to make an N2O2 mix. Not an N2O mix, but an N2 and O2 mix, right? So yeah, and don't worry, like when the O2 and the N2 enter the room, they're not going to make nitrous oxide and knock you out, right? So the last thing I want to do really for this episode now is configure an outlet here for this this water tank, and I think we're probably not gonna need it, but I just want to set up like a pressure regulator so that this water here is kept at a reasonably constant pressure from the pipes that are going to come out of here. Right? So let's go back and get those white pipes that we dropped, right? And I think we'll just take this opportunity here to spray them blue, and yeah, because we have to go inside anyway, because it's time to harvest our plants, it's time to eat, so and it'd be a nice place to kind of end the episode, right, at home. So yeah, okay. It doesn't really matter like where you put them, put the T-junction, right? You could put it here going up, or as long as you kind of keep track of through pressure regulators and through volume pumps, as long as you kind of keep track of where your gases are going and why and how, right? But like I say, I mean, we're not going to get too complicated with this setup here. So I think that'll do, right? It's going to be kind of annoying to mix yellow and blue pipes, but I guess like off screen, between episodes, I will paint the pipes there blue. So yeah. Alrighty. Let's pressure, see what the temperature. You see now, like the temperature's going up. So I think one of the first things we are really going to need to do at the beginning of the next episode is sort out this temperature problem that we are about to have. So yeah. Okay. So I think we're going to want to put our pressure regulator kind of here. So we'll build our corner there, and we'll connect this here. And now one cool way to paint as well is to use the wrench, right? And you'll see that I know I said I was going to do this off screen, but I'm going to do it now, right? So yeah, you'll see, right, that like I have blue pipes in my hand, right? I'm using the wrench to go over existing pipes, and I'm not depleting the pipes that I have in my hand, right? So that's pretty cool, right? Okay. So yeah, that's kind of it for this episode. Not because I've done everything I set out to do this episode, but more because time is up, right? I said I was going to limit myself to kind of an hour, a bit. So we're out of time, right? And we have to wait until the next episode to continue setting this little greenhouse shack thing up, right? So yeah, if you like the video, hit the like. If you like to subscribe, then I like you to subscribe. Yeah, so like have a great day, and thanks for watching. If you've made it this far, I'm extremely happy that you've sat through 5 hours of me blathering on about whatever, yeah, so that's little T out.